Friends, we are live. Great to see you on this Monday afternoon, the last day of June. Rusty back with you here, CFLW, the show for this Monday, June 30th. I hope you are doing well. I think this is the busiest show we're going to have so far. We have got a lot to talk about. We have got an extremely active forecast for the remainder of the week. We have the opportunity to have some tropical development near our area by the end of the week. And of course, it's July 4th weekend here in Central Florida. A lot of folks going to be out and about wanting to hit the beaches and be outdoors. A lot of folks traveling into the area. And we've got a lot of weather to break down for you guys. As always, CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. It's storm season, friends. Storm moves into your area. They can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. You get damaged. We never like to think about it, but we want someone who has our backs, and you can get more information. The website's at the bottom of your screen, leanonmelaw.com. Okay, as always, I want to hear from you guys. What's been going on? Thanks for joining our live stream yesterday. And also appreciate our new subscribers as well. We now are over 1,000 subscribers on the channel. That is a important threshold. So thank you to whether you were subscriber number 1 or the last subscriber for being a part of our community. Appreciate you guys tuning in and helping the channel grow. We still need to grow by leaps and bounds, but it's a great start. Let me check out the comments real quick. Hey, Chessie System, how you doing? Good afternoon from Spring Hill. A little bit of light rain and drizzle there. 78 degrees, but not a lot of rain over the weekend. Yep, western areas were much drier than central and east, where we got hammered with some heavier rainfall. Just 0.15 of an inch there in the Spring Hill area since Friday. Good afternoon, Kevin. How are you doing? Lakeland is in the house. Hi, Therese Kissimmee. Good to see you as well. Appreciate all those tuning in. So maybe you're the first time watcher here of CFLW, the show. I come on Monday and Fridays typically. That can vary, that can change, but come on around 1 o'clock to break down the forecast. The Monday show typically breaks down the week forecast. Fridays for Friday and the weekend to give you guys a heads up. Now, of course, anytime there's impactful weather, we'll be doing a live stream of various sorts. Most of the time I'll be on live, but like yesterday, if these are just widespread storms and the radar can handle it, might do it in that fashion as well. But we've got you covered here on CFLW. But this is a week where it's kind of like every day. We just have to monitor the situation and see how things are going to be breaking down. I can tell you this, there's going to be a lot of green on the map here across Central Florida for the remainder of the week. And I know it's a really important week as well. Of course, July 4th, Friday, and just everyone wanting to get out and about for the weekend, myself included. But, Mother Nature might have a little bit of a different idea. So let's first of all, of course, talk about what's happening across the area right now. While I've got this map on, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our current wind gusts. We'll take a look at current temperatures as well. But these are the winds that are freshening up. Now, we've already had a good bit of showers and storms move right across portions of Brevard County. Both the Indian River and the Banana River pretty covered up right now. Showers, a few thunderstorms in the Oak Hill area back down towards Mims and Titusville, Indian River City, Port St. John, Sharps, Cocoa, Merritt Island. These showers and storms are kind of just developing at the hour. There's not a lot of movement with them. I'll put this into motion over the last half hour. If anything, they're trying to eke a little bit to the northeast, but pockets of very heavy rainfall right now. Portions of US 1 and A1A and I-95 there in Brevard County, from the Cocoa area north into the southern sides of Brevard County towards the Oak Hill area, southern sides of Volusia County towards the Oak Hill area. Scattered showers right now, coastal sides of Volusia County, again, mainly moving offshore, Ormond Beach, the Daytona Beach area, Holly Hill, Wilbur by the Sea, already a couple of scattered showers there. Good afternoon, Sin. How you doing, man? Appreciate you tuning in yesterday as well, and reminding everyone to like and subscribe. I saw those comments and I appreciate that. Scattered rain right now, inland Volusia County towards northern Lake County, so Pearson, De Leon Springs, DeLand, Orange City. If you see the polygons, that's the general movement of the showers at this point in time, but there's not a lot. Shower trying to pulse up at the hour right over Lake Mary and Sanford. Look, there's a ton of moisture in play. There's a lot of lift in the atmosphere. We'll look at this in just a second, but there's an upper level low sitting just east of us, and that spin is enhancing what actually otherwise is a pretty weak sea breeze convergence for today. There's not going to be a lot of sea breeze interaction. It's more of the broad circulation and lift in the atmosphere to produce the showers across the area for today. Already picking up some breezes and some downpours in portions of the Orlando area. The rain hasn't picked up significantly as of yet, but the executive airport has already had a 25-mile-an-hour wind gust. Some scattered showers towards I Drive, towards Hunters Creek, back towards Night 2, OBT, JYP, Cimarron, Meadowwoods on over towards MCO, Kissimmee, I-192 there, as it intersects with the Turnpike and other areas back down towards the Campbell area. Again, all of this kind of lifting to the north-northeast at this point in time, but really just beginning to develop. Additional scattered showers are also in our northwest areas. We have some rain over southern Alachua County, the northern sides of Marion County towards Ocala, a little bit of light rain over Denellen towards Crystal River there in Citrus County, still dry over most of Hernando and Pasco, and generally speaking dry over Hillsborough County. We had a couple of light showers kind of skirt the Pinellas County coastline at the hour towards Largo and Clearwater Beach and Indian Shore or Indian Rocks Beach. There's a lot more rain out here. If I take off the Melbourne radar, which tries to get all the way to the west coast, but if I bring on the composite here, this is the composite of the NEXRAD sites. You get an idea of what is actually just offshore here along the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Now, some of this is going to try and swing its way back in the Northeast Gulf into portions of the Nature Coast, and again, right back down the coastline as well. So kind of scraping Pinellas back down towards Manatee and Sarasota counties. So Bradenton and Sarasota could see a little bit of rain as well. At this point in time, the heaviest activity has remained offshore, and then everything inland is actually kind of trying to move to the north-northeast. Now, when I expand this out, and I'm going to actually bring on, I think the easiest way to show you guys this is the visible satellite imagery. And by the way, that's our 20% chance area. We'll highlight that in just a second as well. Let me take that off for a minute. You can clearly see this spin. Look right here, right? Northern side of the Bahamas, just to our south and east. You can clearly see this spin counterclockwise. That's that upper level low. That's what's going to help to feed all of this today. Now, we might actually be on the kind of drier side of this tomorrow. It's not going to fully limit rain chances by any imagination for us here, but it could bring in slightly drier air to kick rain chances down to kind of average for tomorrow, but that might be the only day for the rest of the weekend into the weekend that we're not at the 70 to 80 to 100% chance for showers and storms. All right. Very complicated forecast. In the short term, it's this upper level low. In the longer term, beginning on Wednesday, it is a stationary front that will work its way down. Weak cold front becomes stalled out right over the eastern Gulf and into the western Atlantic. And along that boundary, we're going to get a lot of heavy rainfall right over the peninsula. We're also going to have the opportunity to maybe spin up some kind of tropical system. Regardless, the biggest impact is going to be the amount of rain and how widespread the rain is going to be for the holiday weekend. So we'll break that down coming up in just a minute, but you can clearly see the moisture is very, very inundated over the area already. Let's get into got a couple of cameras to show you guys, so let's go ahead and do that as well. Live look outside to Conway here in the southeast side of Orlando. We're looking back off towards the east, so that's some of the showers that are developing right now in southern Volusia and Brevard County. We've had a passing shower already in the Conway area. It was brief, not a lot of wind there right now. And again, don't expect there to be a lot of wind in your area unless you're around a shower or a rumble of thunder later in the day. And again, the winds could at that point in time, even as these showers and storms are developing, freshen up to over 25 miles an hour. Can't rule out, just like yesterday, first of all, a couple of stronger storms, right? We never had a severe thunderstorm warning yesterday, but we had special weather statements that got up to 50-mile-an-hour winds. That's a possibility again for today. Winds are going to be the primary threat. Could be some hail. There is, again, a little bit of cooler air aloft with that upper level low, which could support a little bit of ice accretion and development, and we could potentially have some hail that I'll be monitoring that situation for as well. But it's the winds, and of course, you know, this time of the year, the heavy rainfall and the lightning always comes along with this, and we were just blanketed. I know that Jesse's system was saying, look, didn't get a lot of rain in Spring Hill, but you got just inland from there, I-75 and east, especially towards I-4 and I-95, and we had very heavy rainfall yesterday. And ultimately, you know, in the longer range of the entire week, I'm concerned about the amount of rain we could get, which is crazy. It's not crazy, but, you know, not that long ago, we were talking about how much of a drought. We're talking about, darn it, we don't need as much rain as we're going to get this week. And obviously, with it being a holiday weekend. And that obviously is kind of a note to what could be some tropical development close to the area to enhance some of that opportunity for some heavier downpours. Live look outside to the attractions area, Lake Buena Vista. You can see here are the gutters. It's already had a couple of passing showers here. The wet concrete, nothing heavy yet in the Metro Orlando area. But again, I do expect things to just kind of continue to ramp up as we go through the day. All right, so let's get back over to the weather computer here. And again, I've got a lot of extra things to bring you guys for today, just kind of take a look at the potential tropical development. But again, in the shorter term, it's about this upper level low situated here over the Bahamas. You can see already some thunderstorms developing there, but a lot of instability overall across the peninsula and the Panhandle. Now, the risk for severe storms for today is actually nothing more than your typical thunderstorm risk, but that's not atypical for this time of the year. Every so often, the Storm Prediction Center might put a slight risk of severe storms or the green marginal risk, meaning the lowest out of it, 1 out of 5. Today, I don't expect there to be anything organized, but again, can't rule out some storms that pulse up to that marginal severe criteria. It's up to 60-mile-an-hour winds and some inch-sized hail. Most of the storm activity will stay below that for today, but we could get to that threshold in a couple of spots. This is what it looks like in the infrared satellite imagery and the current temperatures on the board for you right now. And again, I just keep popping off that yellow area, but I promise we'll get into that as well. And again, it is going to be a little bit cooler overall the next couple of days, right? Is it minus 40 in Hampton? I don't think so, but is it going to be 95, 96 today? No. Is it going to feel pleasant outside? No, because thanks to the extra clouds holding in all of this moisture from the rain that we've had lately, you just continue to have really, really moisture-laden low levels of the atmosphere. So some 70s, some 80s outside at the hour, nothing egregiously hot as far as actual air temperatures, right? You've got a lot of upper 70s, lower 80s, and that's it. However, when we factor in dew points that are still at or above 70 degrees in most spots, the heat index, you know, is going to be hotter. A couple of 90s out there as well. Nothing crazy, but it is very, very humid outside relative to the air temperature that we're seeing, which again is not going to be egregiously hot the next couple of days because we're going to be stuck with a lot of cloud coverage here the majority of the afternoon hours. Hey Farrah, how you doing? Appreciate you tuning in as well. Thanks for being part of the community. And again, if you guys are here, do me a quick favor, hit that like button for me right now. I would appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, and again, thanks for getting us over 1,000 subscribers yesterday. Appreciate all those who joined in. But look at that blow up of thunderstorms out there in the Eastern Gulf. Just nasty, nasty storms. And again, a lot of instability here. So we're going to break down what's going to be happening in the short term. And then, of course, we're going to get into the holiday weekend. Have a lot of different details to talk about that as well. So in the short term, let me bring this like this. You can clearly see we have this huge yellow area from the National Hurricane Center. There is a 20% chance by the end of the week and into the weekend, we get a little bit of development tropically along that stalled boundary, right? Could develop in the Eastern Gulf, could develop right over our heads and then push off to the east, or could develop in the Western Atlantic. The general trend for this would be wherever it develops to move up to the north and to the east. But it's going to be such a broad system, right? And it's such a slow developing system that the heavy inundation of rainfall is going to be the primary concern for us here. So let's get into what the rest of today looks like. Do this in a couple of different ways. I'm going to bring up the HRRR model here. And again, I have the tropical layer like built into every one, so I'm just going to have to manually take it off so that you guys can see some of the other data, but you get the idea. The 20% chance of development is there. That actually looks pretty good. I was checking some of the stuff out, obviously, before I came on. Yeah, guys, good to see you. I've got my Lean Law tumbler with my Publix Diet Green Tea. going to have to find some energy this week. I think it's going to be a very busy week. I mean, you guys know I do this channel. I do Media Mundo, which is the Caribbean and the Bahamas channel. So there's a lot to talk about there. I also have the new channel, Weather Express, 5-minute daily forecasts across the country, because a lot of you were actually asking me, and even on Media Mundo, Russ, are you going to do something besides, besides Florida in the United States? And so that covers that. If you're interested in those channels, you can find links to the description, or you just find links to those channels here on the CFLW homepage as well. All right. Hydrated up. Let's get into it. Here is how today is going to break down. And I want to be clear about a couple of things. First of all, all right, hang on. No. All right, hang on a second. Sorry, guys. There we go. For some reason, the time frame didn't cooperate there. Let me loop it up one more time. Looks like it's fully loaded, though. That's good. All right, so let's start with right now. This is 2 o'clock on the HER model, high resolution rapid refresh. It's a little bit robust with the rain along I-4. I mean, we got 40 minutes to see this blow up. There is an opportunity. I mean, again, we saw that storm pulse up over Sanford right now, that we could have a little bit more rain right across I-4, northern Osceola, Orange, Cibolo, Volusia counties. It does not have the activity here that's more present right now in Brevard County. So it's a little off in its initial conditions, but you get the idea that as we go through the remainder of the afternoon hours, these showers should, in a general sense, continue to kind of push to the east. Could see some heavier downpours, right? Nothing extremely concentrated, but just an inundation of rain and storms. Potentially later in the period, as we get towards 6, 7 o'clock tonight, we could see some heavier storms redevelop in Brevard County, Osceola County, and then just kind of back build to the west. I mean, I think that these storms are going to be slow, erratic movers, and just like yesterday, they could kind of just mushroom out and end up producing a veil or a shield of moderate rain, I mean, which could encompass most of our area. The widespread moderate rain yesterday was something to see. I mean, the leading edge of storms that rolled through was nasty, but left in its wake were hours and hours of moderate rain. So we'll see if we get another situation like that, where you kind of get, one edge where we have some special weather statements with some winds up to 50 miles an hour, but ultimately you end up with more widespread heavier rain, gray overcast skies. Again, a lot of tropical moisture, a lot of lift in the atmosphere as well. If I take this and I show you the more expanded view, you're going to see just all of the energy both east of us and west of us as well. Again, upper level low, that'll be situated here and then kind of lifting to the north as we get into our Tuesday. And you can see that spin beginning to kind of move away, but in an inherent pattern, we're still under that influence, and we'll continue to see these showers and storms mainly spin counterclockwise. Now, tomorrow, I think, is a day where I don't have a fantastic grasp on how the storms are going to develop. I'm absolutely more than welcome to, tell you that as well. If there is a very complicated pattern that I don't have a great feel for, right? I think there's a lot of different things in play here. Looking at the HER model, as I've mentioned, we could nudge in a little bit drier air. We might be able to turn our winds slightly out of the north, if not at the surface, at the mid-levels of the atmosphere, to just dry out the atmosphere as a whole, okay? If that's going to happen, it may not even be all day. We might get a kind of a break in some of the storm coverage through tomorrow mid-afternoon, but ultimately the wind should turn back out of the southwest as this upper low moves away, and you can see all of this activity south and west of us, which should pull storms back over our area sometime tomorrow. It's not as if I have it drier ultimately for Tuesday, maybe a couple of spots, but maybe we get a bit of a break from seeing more of the showers and storms developing earlier, and we catch more scattered stuff later in the day. This is what it looks like on the HER model. I think it's relatively decent, right? Where we're still, again, this is 4 or 5 o'clock. You don't see nearly as much for tomorrow. And then it starts to build back in late with some heavier downpours into our Tuesday afternoon. And then guess what? Starting Wednesday, all bets are off. as far as just how much rain, when it develops, how it could influence being outdoors. There's just going to be a ton of moisture coming back in, and some of this will be in the morning hours, right? So rain chances just significantly improve. I'll loop this up over the entire forecast all the way until Wednesday morning. Obviously, we'll pick up the GFS forecast from here. But you get the idea. Now, beginning on Wednesday as well, by the way, is when we start to see this front begin to move into the area and stall out. So we'll start to see little bits of spin ups kind of developing here on the models as I take you out along that boundary. And we'll take a look at the winds and everything associated with that. And again, if you have specific questions about the forecast for the holiday weekend, let me know in the comment section below. Hey, Rusty, how you doing? The more rain, the better. It cools the air down. It certainly feels better. I am in total agreement with that. My concern, of course, is going to be the holiday weekend. And so many folks want to be out, right? I've already heard from so many folks that I know, or others who have just emailed me or asked questions on the live streams. You know, there's a lot of people who want to be outside for the 4th weekend and our beautiful beaches here in Florida, and I get it. The weather is going to be a factor. You know, it's not just going to be our typical summer storms developing in the afternoon hours. There is going to be an enhancement for a couple of different reasons. So I'm all for the cooler air. I love the cooler seasons, but this is a concern when it comes to wanting to be out and enjoy the July 4th weekend here in Florida. Thank you, Fiona. How you doing? Wednesday evening supposed to fly to MCO, Tennessee. You know, Fiona, overall, for Wednesday, I would expect you to be okay. You might have a delay, but outside of a delay, I don't think the weather is going to stop you from being able to make your trip. And please enjoy as well. Still haven't gotten used to the heat. I hear you, man. I hear you. I was born and raised in Florida myself. Moved back, about 12 years ago now, I guess. And I feel you. I'm with it too. It does, the older you get, it's a little bit more of an impact, right? I think having been born and raised in it, I expected it again, but it does take your breath away from time to time. It's the humidity. We know that as well. But I'm with you on that. So that's what it looks like through Wednesday morning, okay? Let's pick this up with a GFS model. And again, I have built in the tropical layer, so you're going to see that yellow area there. I'm just going to take it off so it's a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to take this out to the 6th. We're just going to go out to Sunday, okay? Now, I want to be clear about a couple of things. Because this is a developing situation with this stalling boundary and the potential for some tropical development, the models are going to be differing, not only in the different models we look at, but also even run to run, right? There's haven't been a lot of consistency yet to, where we might see a spin up. The only consistency that we see here overall is a pretty darn wet forecast, generally speaking, okay? Right? Maybe we dry out a bit beginning Sunday. I think we're too far down the road for me to start getting optimistic with this, but this is the GFS model through Sunday, and you can just clearly see how wet overall it is. If we do get a system to spin up here, maybe let's say on the 4th of July or on Saturday, could it ultimately, as it spins counterclockwise, sneak in a little bit drier air on Sunday? That's a plausible scenario, but I'm not ready to buy that solution as of yet. I mean, are there escape routes to not being stuck with a 100% chance of rain Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Absolutely, okay? But does it ultimately look very wet and have impacts to being on the beaches and trying to get out on the boat with rough surf and sea conditions and all of that, and things, rip currents bad enough where they have to shut down the beaches from time to time? It is. I want to also make something very clear, okay? I never give specific vacation advice because everyone has different plans and weather tolerances. All I try and do is give you the most accurate forecast and my thoughts as I possibly can so that you guys can make informed decisions. Because I do hear from folks all the time, and especially on the Media Mundo channel, Rusty, I'm traveling to Cancun or I'm traveling to Aruba. Should I cancel my trip? And it's like, eek! It's like, I'm never going to tell you to cancel your trip, but obviously down there or even here, if there's a tropical storm or hurricane coming, you need to make an informed decision. For us, this is not going to be a strong system even if it develops. But the amount of rain that it could bring and the gusty winds and everything else could make for somewhat of a miserable weekend if your plans were to be outdoors on the beaches the entire time. I will say that. But again, is there an escape route to try and dry things out maybe towards the end of the weekend? It's plausible. We can clearly see now on the GFS, if you guys look right here, there's that spin kind of beginning to develop right there. All right. Let's take a look at it on the surface winds. So these are going to be your surface-based winds. Yeah, with the Rays being outdoors now, having to be in the minor league stadium there in Tampa, they could have a lot of rain. You know, Miami plays indoors. Obviously, yeah, the minor league teams, they're all outdoors. It's a good point. Anything that is outdoors that can't tolerate a lot of rain, you know, it's going to be an issue. So letting this loop up here. So based on the GFS right now, and we're going to look at the European model coming up in just a second, guys. Based on the GFS model, you can see that there's more wind energy in the Western Atlantic overall. Still could see some kind of development here in the eastern side of the Gulf, but potentially we're a little bit more east. Now, again, one thing to note, and I'm going to show you guys, and I noted this on the European model as well, is watch how this tries to kind of get going here. A lot of wind off of the Carolina coastline. These winds, by the way, here, as this front comes offshore, and these are surface sustained winds. These aren't even gusts, okay? So you have surface-based sustained winds along the Gulf Stream, 30, 35 miles an hour. There's just no twist. But on the tail end of this, right, now you start to see a little bit of a spin right there. And this would be on the 4th of July. But watch where the direction goes. Does it retrograde back west and over our east coast? With sustained winds along the coast, think about this. You're going to, you know, any Atlantic or Satellite Beach. You know, your sustained winds near the coast Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock are 20 to maybe 25 miles an hour in some locations. Same situation up here in Daytona Beach. That would be an onshore or a north to northeast breeze, right? This is kind of what I'm talking about. And you can see that spin right there. Nothing outrageously strong and not expecting it to be, but appreciable problems to wanting to be out for the 4th of July weekend, certainly a possibility. That's what it looks like at the sustained winds. Okay, so these are now your wind gusts, right? Same model, same GFS model. Instead of the sustained winds, you know, what could winds gust up to? I can tell you right now, you look at the legend, you get to the yellows, that's the big problem. Greens aren't fantastic because that's over 20 mile an hour gusts, but it's the yellows that we want to, you know, kind of keep an eye on here. So let's see what we got. Doesn't look horrible. So right as this tries to spin back in, you know, nothing crazy. But again, you know, are you going to be happy with 20 to 25 mile an hour winds the entire weekend, right? While the winds aren't pulsing up, do you guys just see how there's a lot of blue overall here? You know, that's going to be 15 to 20 mile an hour winds sustained with higher gusts. What's interesting is that the GFS model has backed off of anything along the eastern side of the Gulf, which might keep things slightly better along the West Coast, but I have high concerns about everywhere just with the overall pattern that's going to be breaking down. Now, for today, there is the risk for some heavier rain along the West Coast. All right, we'll see if this develops. It's just kind of the green scale from the Climate Prediction Center for the opportunity for excessive rainfall. But it's interesting to note that they're actually favoring the Gulf Coast, down towards Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota for the best chance for possibly heavy rain for today. This is the map that I think we all need to keep an eye out for. GFS model rainfall totals, and I'm going to take this out all the way to the end of the weekend, and this is what it looks like, okay? Now, let us be clear about a couple of things. You shouldn't look at one spot, and if the GFS model says you're only getting 2 inches of rain, go, that's it, I'm only getting 2. This is more of an average than anything, but you can clearly see that there is a lot of rain overall that could be developing in our area. So let's take a look at this, all right? This is, again, starting right now, taking no account to the rain that fell yesterday, how much more rain could fall, all right? And this, again, is through Sunday evening. So the West Coast, 2.5 to 6 inches of rain. I-4, fully don't expect Orlando to just have an inch of rain. Again, some of this I can discount based on everything else that I've seen. And I think overall the GFS is a little bit weak here, right? Because you get down to, look at this. It's trying to paint 8 inches of rain down in Okeechobee, West Palm, and then you get offshore, and now you've got this big swath of 4+ inches of rain here. On average, I think we're going to be in that 3 to 6, okay? And again, this is kind of the newest run of the GFS, but I want to be, straight with you guys that the next run of the GFS could shift this heavier rain east. We're going to have that blob right over the East Coast. So very heavy rainfall is likely to come along with this because there's going to be rich tropical moisture and along that stalled boundary. And again, let's be clear, the models are still trying to get a handle on where this boundary is going to stall and how much kind of interaction in the mid-levels of the atmosphere we're going to have with that, right? How much wind is going to be kind of spinning up around that stall boundary and just how much of a factor it's going to be. But you get the idea that the amount of rain here could be excessive in many locations. And again, enough to cause problems as far as wanting to be outside for the holiday weekend. So here's a couple of things to show you guys with this. I'm going to start off here with the European ensemble pressures, okay? So again, there's the deterministic European model, which is like the main one that you guys see. And then there's 50 ensemble members that we look at, which all give different solutions. Starting as early as late tomorrow and on Wednesday, some of the European ensemble members actually develop a little bit of something off of our West Coast in the Eastern Gulf. Probably not going to happen, but down the road, beginning on the 4th and the 5th, we start to see more of the ensemble members develop a little bit stronger systems. Now look, that's not a lot of members overall, so the chance is still relatively low, but there are signals on the European model to go along with what we just saw in the GFS for potential development, especially in the Western Atlantic, maybe just north of the Northern Bahamas, just off of our East Coast. Now that is a very strong storm, and at this point in time, we can kind of discount that a bit because it's the outlier, right? We never fully discount it to get a storm where the pressure's below 1,000 millibars, but more than likely, if we do get a system, it's going to be kind of a weak, sloppy system as well. But note, too, that as it develops, there's a little bit of a push north and west, okay? North and west. When I show you the contours of the ensemble members, okay, and we loop this up, I did it really slowly. Watch that develop. The tighter the rings, the stronger the storm, and how it tries to actually kind of come back north and west. Along this whole boundary, we're just going to see a lot of perturbation of winds and a lot of spin overall. So that's the biggest concern, but appreciably, again, what does it do to our forecast? It makes it very wet and very stormy, and it's just above average rain chances with potentially a lot of wind as well along the East Coast, which is going to cause some problems for those wanting to be out on area beaches. Here's how it breaks down over the next 3 days. We'll start off in Orlando. 60% chance tomorrow, which is actually going to be potentially slightly lower than today, because we talked about that little bit of drier air potentially, nudging in early Tuesday. But then it just gets wet and stormy. And these could even be conservative. 70% chance for storms Wednesday, 80 on Thursday. Heavy rainfall is possible, getting 90 tomorrow, but back into the 80s and even just the mid 80s on Thursday afternoon. For the Daytona Beach area, it's the same situation. Building storm chances, locally heavy rainfall, widespread storms, surf and sea conditions will be elevated. Beach conditions will not be fantastic. Rip current risk will probably be going up as well. All the hazards that go along with active weather in a tropical environment will come along for the ride along our East Coast and most of the West Coast as well, right? So, if you are going to the area beaches this weekend, just make sure you stay weather aware. Please check in with the lifeguards. Red flags could be flying as early as Thursday. We'll just see how it plays out. But, elevated sea conditions, just things churned up. The rip current risk is going to be higher if potentially going boating offshore, even in the coastal waters. Just make sure you're very aware of the situation because there's going to be numerous showers and storms. So, unfortunately, it's not a great forecast. I wish I had better news, but I want you guys to be prepared for what I'm thinking for the upcoming weekend here in Central Florida. Now, along the West Coast, again, it's not a ton better for Clearwater Beach. Probably get a little bit more sunshine there tomorrow. Everywhere else, we'll probably mainly see mostly cloudy, if not even overcast skies the majority of the week. Sure, there'll be some filtered sunshine from time to time, but nothing outrageous. Could be peaks of sunshine at Clearwater Beach tomorrow, and then ultimately, again, they get into a wet and stormy pattern beginning on Wednesday. Widespread storms, locally heavy rainfall, surf and sea conditions up as well. Beach conditions aren't fantastic. Temperatures upper 80s tomorrow, back down to 86 degrees on Thursday. Live look outside to Disney. I'll check what we got here. Fiona, I think probably everything. Red Hot and Boom, and that's Altamont Springs, right, Fiona? I'm pretty sure about that. Red Hot and Boom, the Lake Eola. By the way, are they doing the Lake Eola thing this year? It is one thing I haven't actually checked in on. Whatever. But if you have an event you're going to go to outdoors, just keep it in mind, right? That you want to make sure that you are aware day of kind of how the situation is going to play out. I don't want to ultimately sit here and say that every single thing over the holiday weekend is a washout, because it's not going to be, but I have my concerns, and ultimately probably a lot of events are going to be impacted in some way. Yeah. Yep, I'm with you on that. Live look outside to the Conway area of Orlando, looking to the east. That's the building showers right now over portions of Volusia County and the northern sides of Brevard County. We've had a passing shower here in the Conway area, but that was all that it was. And again, when it's not raining, it's overcast and it's very, very humid outside for you guys as well. Okay, so back over to the weather computer. I'll pop my lovely face back on screen as well. I want to get back over to the live radar real fast and talk about what's happening at this point in time. Do this real fast. Did you guys hear my stomach growl? I'm hungry. I haven't had lunch yet. So this is what I was talking about building right now in portions of Seminole and into Volusia counties. So we do have some rain at this point in time. Let me bring the lightning data back on as well. No lightning out of any of this, but them downpours. Good tropical moisture in place, so Lake Helen, Orange City, Deltona, Sanford, and a little string of showers even back down towards Metro Orlando. Most of the heaviest activity that was right over the Banana and Indian Rivers there in Brevard County have worked their way offshore, right? But still some pockets of downpours towards the St. John's River, Port St. John over the Indian River, Sharps and Cocoa, drifting over Merritt Island, a couple of scattered showers back into coastal and the southern sides of Brevard County. Back up to the north, we've had a couple of showers here in portions of northern Volusia and our friends in Flagler County, so Flagler Beach, Beverly Beach, to south of Palm Coast, developing showers there. Pockets of rain over portions of Marion County and Alachua County. But again, it's really spotty in nature, but really gray overcast skies. And then I want to take off the Melbourne radar and I go back over to our composite here. And again, this is the composite of all of the different radar sites at once. You can just see how active the pattern is. Now, again, a lot of these storms are just offshore of the West Coast, but if you live coastal Levy, Citrus, Pasco, Hernando, portions of Pinellas, even Hillsborough, Manatee, Sarasota counties, there will be some showers and some storms scraping the coast. And if you look off towards your west, you're going to see even worse weather there. And again, this is all brought to us by This area, by the way, the yellow is the 20% chance risk of the development tropically later in the week. That by this upper level low, this counterclockwise spin that you guys see right there. Big enhancement in the atmosphere for today because the sea breeze interaction is actually going to be not existent for today for the most part. Very weak sea breezes overall, but the wind profile from this upper level low is also kind of messing up the typical local sea breeze pattern in the wind development there, which is why things are kind of disorganized and moving in different directions. But ultimately, the radar should fill in a little bit later in the day. Okay, so let's talk about a couple of things here. First of all, again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Yeah, cool guys. So, okay, Blue Goose, how you doing, pal? Hope things are well for you. So, again, if anyone has a specific question about the forecast, let me know in the comments section below. Obviously, this is going to be a very busy week, right? So on a daily basis, if there is impactful weather that's impacting Central Florida, as far as our thunderstorms getting going and they're robust and they're very strong and they're severe, they're producing some locally heavy rain, I'll be back on live covering that. That's just a daily, day-by-day thing. If you guys are friends of the channel, then you know that this is the live only channel, right? I don't do any video forecasting. This does become recorded under the live tab of the CFLW channel, but I do this as a live stream so that we can have this interaction and those who watch live get the most updated information on what I'm thinking about the forecast. You can always watch this at your convenience in the recorded version, and many of you do. And if you have a question about the forecast, even if you're watching the recorded version, you can drop it in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer. But I could be back on at any point in time later today or over the next couple of days to keep you guys updated on what's happening right now in Central Florida. If I don't see you between now and the next time I'm going to go live as a scheduled, I'm going to go live Thursday evening, okay? I think Friday afternoon, a lot of folks are out and already going to be headed to where they want to be for the weekend. And I think by Thursday evening, we're going to have a much better idea of what's going to be happening for the remainder of the holiday weekend, for the 4th and into Saturday and Sunday. So instead of doing the Friday show at 1 o'clock, I'm going to come on Thursday night. I do believe that that time will be 7 p.m., but I will schedule it so you guys will know. Now, that being said, there could be some impactful weather where I'm already live anyway, and then all bets are off. We just do a live stream as we're talking about the impactful weather. But if for some reason I'm not already on Thursday at 7 o'clock, that will be the next CFLW show rather than Friday at 1 p.m. because I want to give you guys the heads up that you need for Friday into the weekend. We're going to have a much better idea as far as what's going to be happening with this ultimate, potential tropical development and just the wet and stormy forecast I expect for the weekend as well. Fiona, how dare you? I think we'll handle it, but, if we have to, we have to. Fiona, why did you delete Blue Goose's messages? Did he do a bad thing? Yeah, well, I hear you, Fiona. By the way, Fiona, I think you might have accidentally deleted Blue Goose's messages. I mean, unless Blue Goose became a completely different person. So Blue Goose, I'll apologize for Fiona in advance. You didn't ban him from the channel, did you, Fiona? He did a bad thing? Or you did a bad thing? Please tell me you didn't ban him from the channel on accident. I'm not sure I know how to fix that, at least initially. I don't know. All I saw is that it says that you deleted his messages. Blue Goose, are you still there? Oh no. I'll have to look into it. Oh, hang on. Unhide user. Blue Goose, are you there? If you're there, jump in and let me know. I think Fiona accidentally hid you. Yeah, I think Fiona accidentally hid him. So I'm trying to work on it. Okay. I think I did it correctly. There you go. No, you're back. You're back. Did a bad thing. Don't worry, Blue Goose. We got you. So Fiona, who is fantastic, by the way, just accidentally hid you from the channel. But luckily, I was able to go in and unhide you. So you're good to go. Lots of Rusty Shackfords out there. You're back. You're back. We can easily, I say we can easily take care of it. I think we can easily take care of it if we accidentally ban someone. You're not in timeout, Fiona. Listen, do you know how many missed clicks and buttons I've done? I have a tablet. You guys, what I'm looking at here is I have a tablet on a stand, but it's all touch screen. And I don't have a keyboard for it except an on-display keyboard. And the amount of misclicks I've done on that is a thing. So Fiona, no, please. And I appreciate all you do for the channel, Fiona. I do. So thank you very much for that. All right, gang. So we're going to wrap up the show for right now. Again, really active forecast. I could be back on at any point in time the next couple of days, just tracking, the live impactful weather here in Central Florida. That being said, please be aware if you have plans for the outdoors over the July 4th weekend here in Central Florida. I know a lot of folks are flying in. It's a big weekend. I'm concerned about the ultimate forecast and how much rain we're going to get. And obviously this potential development area here in Central Florida tropically may not be a strong one, but just helping to aid in the wet and stormy forecast for us here. So friends, I appreciate you guys. Please remember that CFLW, the show and the channel, is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. It's storm season. We're talking about storms. One moves into your area, you get wind damage, hail damage, hurricane damage, flooding, you've had a burst pipe. They can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They offer free consultation and policy reviews. You kind of want to just brush up on things. Check out Bobby Lean and the team at leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. Okay, again, appreciate you guys. Please have the notifications on because I only go live on this channel. You never know when I'm going to pop up talking about the impactful weather. Again, the next CFLW show should come your way Thursday at 7 p.m. rather than Friday at 1 o'clock. I want to give everyone the heads up ahead of time for Friday, July 4th and into the weekend. But if I'm not on live already, I will schedule that live stream. So you guys will see that again on the scheduled live streams. Friends, have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you tuning in. Take care. Thanks for liking and subscribing on the way out. I'm sure I'll see you soon right here on CFLW.